following podcast has been brought to you by the Ramblemania Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ramblemania probably brings to you. It is I, your two-time inaugural champion, former heavyweight tag team champion, Hazel, the Eye Zombie, and we're doing this solo again. Welcome to another episode of Raw Rantz, where we like to recap the good, the bad, and who booked this shit on Monday Night Raw. No twin magic this time again. It's just me, myself, and I. And so I hope everyone had a very good weekend of wrestling going into, Slammiversary, Money in the Bank, live crowd coming back for WWE, live crowds for Impact also making a return. ROH just had their Best in the World show, and they just got a live crowd. Congratulations to Bandito on becoming the ROH World Champion. I'm not trying to sound like Rick Sanchez there. It just happened. There's a lot of huge moments that happened throughout this whole weekend. And, going into the week forward, it's been getting pretty good. It's actually been getting very, very good. Like the Forbidden Door has officially been kicked in with, the debut of Jay White on Impact in the Slammiversary. You know what? Why don't we just talk about it real quick, since, we don't really get to talk about Impact shows, and it's rare when we do a recap of Impact. Last time we did it was Rebellion. That was our first ever, talk about Impact on the Ramblemania Show podcast, let alone, a pay-per-view of us reacting to it. You guys should go watch that, the Rebellion one. It's out there on YouTube. But let's talk about Slammiversary real quick. Give the overall of the show and then my final grade of it. All I could say about it was, throughout that whole Saturday, I was actually, pretty excited for what I was about to watch. I didn't expect, I don't think anyone expected Jay White to make his debut in Impact Wrestling. The debut of No Way Jose, now going by No Way, teaming up with Falaba in the four-way tag match where those deviled eggs, fucking Good Brothers, regained the Impact World Tag Team Championships. Two-time tag champs now. The Super Elite have all the belts. Impact, AEW World titles. Impact and AEW World Tag Team titles. And Kenny Omega got two other belts. Oh, yeah, the TNA belt, too. I keep forgetting that belt still exists. We had the return of Mickie James, inviting Deonna Purrazzo to her all-women's NWA pay-per-view Empowered coming on August. Can't wait to watch that. It's also, I believe, the 73rd anniversary for NWA, too. I think it's going to be their 73rd anniversary show coming up. I'm pretty excited for that. What else happened? Oh yeah, and Kenny Omega literally just, first of all, Don Callis talking about the greatest deathmatch wrestler of all time, saying better than Nick Gage, better than Atsushi Onita. I don't even know why he said Nick Gage. I'll talk about that later. Lots of good debuts, lots of returns. The Ultimate X, it was good to see Ultimate X for so long, because I haven't seen Impact, especially the X Division, in such a while. And I've seen some of the guys that are wrestling in the X Division right now, and they're really good guys, but watching them compete in Ultimate X, fucking amazing. Avalanche Canadian Destroyer, Petey Williams onto Chris Bay. Was insane. Whoever gave Josh Alexander the fucking cutter while he was hanging on the X rope, That was a sick bump. It was scary, but it got a really huge pop. I'm proud of that. I think one thing that I hated about some of the returns is number one, the whole thing with Mickey James. They spoiled it like before the pay per view. Even the whole thing with Chelsea Green, like you're giving it away already. Like keep it a secret. I get it. Like we all know some of these people might be coming back to this company, but at least still keep it a secret. Don't, don't throw the basic hints out there like, oh, it's gonna be hardcore country in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's like, oh, get ready for your match. It's gonna be a hot mess. I'm like, okay, like you're basically giving away the whole thing. Like, it's still real to me, damn it. I would like to at least be surprised. I don't want to just watch a pay per view and then, I know who's coming. It's like I can't really get excited for it anymore because the illusion of surprises has been taken away from me by you basically giving it away. So yeah, uh, the whole entire show was great. Oh, and Thunder Rosa making her debut, taking on Deonna Purrazzo. God, that they they wasted her in NXT, and I'm glad she's doing an amazing job in Impact. Like the Knockouts division there is probably one of the best divisions they have in pro wrestling, let alone Impact. Like their Knockouts division is probably top notch compared to what NXT has, compared to what the main roster has. Next to that, it's AEW with them because their division is actually standing pretty strong. It may be in a little bit of trouble, but it's standing pretty strong. I'm going to give the show overall Slammiversary. I'm going to actually give it a uh I'll give it a solid bars, which is a B. It was actually a really good show. Jay White making the last appearance to Impact, ending the show, which is great. Kenny Omega taking a pizza cutter to the forehead onto Sami Callihan. Just, I mean, there was moments where it was like, oh, Sammy could actually beat him. Maybe Sammy could beat him. Maybe he could beat him. No, but he put up a really good fight, though. I will admit that he's another one that people need to start paying attention to because he is going to make it if he becomes Impact World Champion again. Yeah, I'm gonna give this show a solid B. It was like a great show for the weekend. Going into Sunday with Money in the Bank and everything, I had no issues with this whatsoever. Now we're gonna go on to the biggest news that is going around. This has been passed around all over the world within 15 hours, 18 hours, 24 hours, and that is basically Daniel Bryan's uh, wrestling status, and it's I don't know if this is official. I don't want to say it's official because then people are going to be like, oh, I'm wrong and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I'm just reading this out from WrestleZone, and it basically states here, hold on, let me get this real quick. Okay, it basically states here from WrestleZone, Cassidy Hayes of Bodyslam.net reports that according to a source, the former WWE champion has signed with All Elite Wrestling, and there are already some plans in place for his debut. It also notes that working less dates and having the ability to wrestle in New Japan were among things that the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, asked for. In addition, I was told that Danielson was wanting to work less dates for comparable money. He wanted the ability to go work in New Japan and wanted to have creative input on his character, which he got. Earlier this week, Bryan is not figured into WWE's merchandising plans moving forward. His WWE contract following a Universal Championship match with Roman Reigns on April 30th. That was the last match that he had for the Universal Championship. If he lost, he'd be gone from SmackDown. So basically, from what I'm reading here, it's official that it's done. His contract has expired and he hadn't re-signed. So I don't know. I think people should go on WWE.com tomorrow morning and see if he's on the alumni list. But here's an actual update. Haynes noted that AEW is planning to have Bryan debut on September 22nd. Basically, that's the day where AEW debuts in New York City and Queens. That stadium that's right across the street from Citi Field. The plan was to hold off Danielson until after all the plans from All Out were wrapped up and to bring him in after the pay-per-view. However, with news of CM Punk's potential AEW debut, plans or card might be subject to change, which also now brings us to the possibility that a Tony Khan and CM Punk are in talks with each other again, and a contract is being made right now for CM Punk to join All Elite Wrestling. There were news speculating that he's supposedly making a wrestling comeback. This whole thing has been going around ever since he. I think after the whole Art of Wrestling episode with Cole Cabana, everyone's just been putting that, like, oh, that's the biggest news. Like, oh, he might come back to wrestle. He might finally come back to wrestle. I mean, it's been 10 years since the pipe bomb. 10 years in general since the whole pipe bomb happened, the whole Summer of Punk, whatever. But it's basically been almost 8 years since he's been away from WWE, away from wrestling. Last time we saw him, like anything wrestling related, was the failed WWE backstage show on FS1, and he only made I think 5 to 7 appearances on that show, and then he was just never heard from again after that. So it says here from WrestlingNews.co, there seems to be a lot of smoke to CM Punk AEW rumors. In fact, it looks like he either has a signed deal or is very close to signing. As noted earlier regarding his talks with AEW and his post on Instagram, stories seem to hint that he may be appearing at the All Out pay-per-view September 5th. Meltzer has noted on the Wrestling Observer Forum that there are things going on behind the scenes in AEW that suggest if Punk isn't signed, then at least there is an understanding that he is with them. Meltzer noted that there have been talks about certain dates with Punk, which is an indication that things are pretty far along or he has signed already. Meltzer also stated things are going behind the scenes as far as talks about certain dates, such make me think if this isn't signed, they have an understanding unless there is a blow up. It's happening. So yeah, it's basically like almost 8 years that CM Punk has not wrestled, and you know, could this be the big thing that AEW is looking forward to doing? Like, is this going? Would this help them out in ways like competing with WWE? Of course. I mean, of course, you have two of the biggest stars from Ring of Honor. I'm not gonna call them WWE guys because they're not WWE guys. These guys are Ring of Honor wrestlers. Okay, they fight with a lot of honor in that ring. So I kind of want to see a lot of that if because I'm only throwing this if out there. When they show up, if they debut, if the contract signings are true, I don't want to jump to conclusions because everyone else is going after this. I'm just reading out what people are saying. I'm not going to throw my chips in there and say like, oh, this is going to happen. Like, oh, this is not going to happen. I'm just going to be one of those people that waits and watches the pay-per-view or AEW to see if all of this shit is going to actually come to fruition. If not, then these are just rumors. That's basically it. Now, let's talk a little bit about AEW real quick and what happened on Fyter Fest Night 2. More importantly, let's talk about this fucking man. MD motherfucking K, Nick Gage will be debuting on Impact, on AEW next week, taking on Chris Jericho. Labors of Jericho match 2. He beat Shawn Spears, where the stipulation was only Shawn Spears could use a chair, but Jericho couldn't. And he beat him. And then that's when Nick Gage made his debut, and it's going to be a no rules, no DQ match. So it's going to be the Painmaker versus the King of Ultraviolence. And right here is basically like my prized possession. This is the pizza cutter that Nick Gage actually used on Casanova Valentine in a no-ring death match in Brooklyn around 2019. That was the first time I ever got to meet him and got to see him wrestle. This is probably my greatest possession in pro wrestling history, and he got to sign it at an ICW show that I got to see him in. Partying Bullshit. That's the one that Larry Legend took me to have a good experience. That was my first ICW show, and that show was fucking great. And last but not least, if I'm in my complete Bullet Club gear, and let's just get it out of the way. Huge spoilers. Let's just give everyone a fair warning. If you guys don't want to hear what happened on any Impact tapings, there's going to be a number where you could skip it at. We'll put it right there on the bottom. Skip right there if you actually want to hear me just talk about Raw. If you don't want to hear the spoiler, click where it says to click at. So you could save, so you could just, watch it for yourself. Chris Bay is now in Bullet Club. Yep, it's official. The first ever African-American to finally join a faction in New Japan. What took him so fucking long? But yes, Dashing Chris Bay is now an official member of Bullet Club and was recruited by Switchblade Jay White. I believe that might happen in the upcoming weeks of tapings because this was just leaked out there. There was another leak that appeared on NXT that, takes place, I believe, next week or 2 weeks, but I'm not going to spoil that, and I'm not even going to talk about that because that's for Banter Club to enjoy. That's for them to talk about. But yes, we finally have our first ever African-American in Bullet Club. And, I'm hoping this leads for good things for Chris Bay because he deserves it. He's a breakout star like in Impact. And I'm surprised that they haven't, strapped the belt on him quickly because he could take Impact to the top. He has potential. He has, the showmanship and the charisma. He has the work. Trust me. That man is a workhorse. And I think, him being in Bullet Club will actually take him, to where he needs to be. I don't know all the way to the top, but it'll take him to where he needs to be. And if Bullet Club could do that, then I'm happy. That means we'll probably get to see him in New Japan more, especially New Japan America, since the Resurgence pay-per-view is coming up. Oh, and speaking of New Japan, congratulations to Lance Archer on becoming a 2-time IWGP US Heavyweight Champion by murdering Jon Moxley in a Texas death match in your own hometown. That's some sweet revenge from 2 years ago at the Tokyo Dome. Good shit there. Now the Murder Hawk Monster could actually start murdering people because everywhere you go, if you see that man, just know this. Everybody dies! Submitted to the approval of the Ramble Mania show. This is the tale of a superhero becoming a champion. Without further ado, let's ramble. So, oh yeah, I got to do this. Oh, now we're going to open up the show with, what grinds Sixx's gears. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing it back that one time. This time, instead of giving SixXL, 15 seconds or 20 seconds, I'm going to give him a full minute to talk about what grind his fucking gears throughout Monday Night Raw. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the return of, what grinds Sixx's gears. Take it away.
All right, you know what time it is. You know what this is, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see by this beautiful NXT shirt, it's time for, you know what really grinds my gears? I'm going to tell you right now exactly what grinds my gears. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Me and you, we got some words right quick, old man, because this shit ain't right. First off, you come out here and you bring out Karrion Kross, and you bring him out with all the pomp and circumstance and all the cool shit that he was given on NXT so that you can be happy? Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is what you're going to do. So then, here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Then he brings out Jeff Hardy with no more words back. Let's see. Where are the casual fans going to go? Fucking maybe Jeff Hardy, huh? So you got this guy that they're not introduced to yet that well. He's over here being the NXT champion. He's the fucking man. They spent months and months and months and months building this man. So now you have him come out here. You have Jeff Hardy come out here. You have Jeff Hardy cheat to win. He puts his feet on the rope. So now Jeff Hardy looks like a fucking chump because now he cheated. And then now the NXT champion looks like a piece of shit because he just got beat in 5 minutes by Jeff Hardy. What the fuck were you thinking, Vince? You tell me, because at the end of the day, I don't see how this helps you. Because all the people that you're bringing up now lost to him. I don't know how this helps them. Because you're trying to teach them a lesson, supposedly, because their ratings were down against AEW. Are you absolutely out of your fucking mind? Instead of saying, what can I do to help those ratings? You say, what can I do to teach them a lesson so that they can help their own ratings? It's not how this shit works, Vince. This is a fucking business. What you do is be smart enough to find the correct people, to line them up, to help them out, to put them in the right position so that they can do better. Instead, what you do is you bury their top fucking guy that they spent months, damn near a year and change building, and then you fucking bury him in one night. And if that's not a reason for me to have my gears grinded all the way left, here's another reason why my gears are grinded to fucking shreds. Oh my God. You bring back the biggest, greatest thing that was ever in NXT. You bring him to the main roster. He does shit. You give him a shitty song. You make him fucking shave his beard. You give him a fucking shirt. And then he goes off for a while. Then you bring him back. And when you finally bring him back, instead of having him destroy anything and everyone that's in his path, because you have to bask in this man's glory, you bring back Keith Lee, only for him to get squashed by Bobby Lashley, just so that you can bring out the oldest motherfucker on God's green earth by the name of Oldberg. William Oldberg. I'm sorry, bruh. Because it's not personal. I understand you're not the one making these decisions. But what you have to understand, Vince, the fans don't want to see niggas that are 95 years old face the new guys. No, you keep putting more guys so that you can build something called stars, which you haven't had in years. Only Roman Reigns, that's about it. You haven't had these big name stars in years because you don't know how to fucking book a fucking wrestling program. Instead, you want to make movies. So you want to bring back all these old motherfuckers so they can have their final say. But then they never leave. You let them go for 5 seconds. You bring them back. Let them go and then you're always putting them against the world champion. You want to make an old fucking wrestler build up new talent? Well, then put them up. Well, not put them up against. Put them with somebody. Have them elevate that person. Have them lose to shit. Instead, not have them win the fucking main title every time you bring them back. God damn, if Bobby Lashley doesn't win this fucking feud, I swear to God, the main roster can forget it because I'm never watching another main roster show ever again after that. Fuck's sakes, man. What are you doing, Vince? What the fuck are you doing? And that was grinding my gears with 6XL. You ain't gonna bury two one is a former NXT guy and a current NXT champion just to supposedly better your roster, which at the end of the day, you're not doing because all those people fucking lost to the guy that you put. It's not worth my energy. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Grind My Gears.
That's what grinds Sixx's gears, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we open up Monday Night Raw, not at the Thunderdome. No, we're back with a live crowd again. We are in Dallas, Texas. We have the Yabba Dabba Doo. You can't see me, Mr. Invisible Man. He makes his way out to the ring. Well, he starts, going around to the crowd, parading the fans like, you have my towel. He has my towel. Yeah, towels. And, he does his, shtick. Pretty weird that, we open the show with Cena and we don't get the whole John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. We didn't get any of that. So now it's like, the fans, the hardcore fans, now respect them. Now they can cheer for this man. Well, I mean, cool, right? Okay, so he gets on the mic, talks about how he misses the fans and he missed wrestling. He jokes that half of the crowd is happy to see him. Half are still telling him that he sucks. There's an 11-year-old in the crowd there's a birthday boy in the crowd that just turned 11, and it says his birthday present is to see John Cena. He says he's going to explain his return. He showed up last night and ruined the Tribal Chief celebration after he was supposed to be acknowledged by the crowd. Roman was angry. Paul Heyman was unhappy. Michael Cole was, ecstatic, and he was climaxing. And Pat McAfee just couldn't see him. As far as who technically brought Cena back, it's really the fans, but also Roman Reigns. So basically, we're going back to the angle from 2017, 2018. The whole I'm still here because you can't do your job. So now I have to come back here because you still can't do your job. 5 weeks from now, SummerSlam, Las Vegas, Universal Championship. Gonna go for that 17. Gonna beat Ric Flair's record, but you're really not because you got more titles to win than just 17. That man got like 21. Suck my dick. But he asked why. He could talk about the feeling of being in front of the fans or breaking Ric Flair's record, but none of those other reasons. Yes, the fuck it is. Basically, he calls Roman Reigns an asshole. And you got 14,000 people in the crowd calling you an asshole. Asshole, asshole, asshole. So Cena believes that he needs to be knocked down a peg or two. Well, peg or two. Why did I say peg? This pathetic experience has gone long enough. I find that funny you said that because you got beat by the Fiend in his own world. How the fuck did you get out? I mean, in wrestling land, kayfabe land, this is worse than the lockbox. This is worse than trying to figure out who lifted up the briefcase in like the late 90s when Austin was trying to win. Who was the mole in Chaos? So, this pathetic experience has gone long enough. Roman is an arrogant, overhyped, overprotective gimmick who isn't over as he says he is. And that's coming from him. Cena says, if you're good, you demand people acknowledge you. But if you're great, the fans will tell you. And he's going to see him on SmackDown. Promo ends, but not really. I mean, there's going to be a match taking place, but here comes Riddle, bro, and he's scooting down the aisle, about to enter the ring. Birds are chirping and, animated 3D stuff. And Cena just stops him. He's like, whoa, 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 whoa. dude, I get it. And they have a dude, where's my car moment where the guy's like, what does my tattoo say? Sweet. What about mine? Dude. They're just like, bro. And I'm just like, can you cut this shit and just get to some wrestling? All right, so we have our first match taking place is a 6-man tag. It is Riddle with the Viking Raiders taking on America's Moist Wanted, Johnny Moist, Drippy Drip Morrison, and the Raw Tag Team Champions, AJ and Omos. First of all, I'm just going to say this. Very erotic what Miz and, Morrison are doing. I mean, I don't care, bro, you're shooting your loads in the crowd. You're shooting your loads in the commentary. As long as you're shooting your loads at Byron Saxton, I'm fine with that. But leave Jimmy Smith and Corey Graves alone. Corey Graves shoots his own loads whenever the women come out. All right, so it's just funny. And Morrison now has his own shirt with his foam penis, shooting all that cum out. That's worse than the AJ cum stain shirt. That's worse than the Val Venus I'm cocked and loaded shirt. That's covered in jizz, isn't it? I don't know. Okay. So basically the whole thing is just AJ takes off. AJ takes a headlock, gets shot off with a shoulder tackle. Riddle fires back with a kick to the chest and lands back. Johnny Drip tags and Riddle takes him down with a, omoplata submission. Morrison rolls him up for the 1, then dodges a kick, lands some strikes. America's Moist Wanted avoids a moonsault into the corner, but gets caught with an exploder suplex. Now Ivar tags in. He immediately tags Eric for some double knees. Eric keeps Morrison in the corner and tags Ivar, body slams it onto, Johnny Morrison. Riddle tags in and keeps the pressure on John, but Styles then tags in, all hell breaks loose. Morrison leaps over the ropes for a Hurricane Rana to Ivar, but gets caught in the splash by both Vikings. Styles is then launched over the ropes and onto Riddle and the Vikings. Omos trailing and stomping Riddle in the ring. He slams him before tagging in Morrison, who applies a submission to the throw. Riddle breaks free and knees Morrison. Styles tags in and tries to prevent the tag. Riddle leaps on. So basically, it's just back and forth between these teams, and the whole thing is just really getting Omos over because Omos just looks like a beast right after that. And you can't even blame him. But at the end of the day, Riddle and the Viking Raiders win. Basically, what happens is Riddle grabs the foam dick from Miz's wheelchair, and he shoots a load on Omos's back. And then he throws it back at Miz. And then Omos turns around and looks at the Miz, and he's just like, did you just shoot your load on me? You shot your load on me. And then, AJ has to go, no, Omos, get the frick back in the ring. We got to win. Viking experience onto John Morrison for the win. Pretty good match. It was a good match, just to see these guys, showcase their stuff. Because when we saw Money in the Bank, the crowd was really not digging the Viking Raiders. I think the crowd was just dead and they didn't care. And I think that kind of sucked because the Viking Raiders are really good tag teams and they deserve better than what they're getting right now. I know they didn't win, but it's good that, they're getting all this airtime against it. The crowd can actually start cheering for them. That's what's really more important. We need to get the crowd back on their side. And I kind of want that to happen to the Viking Raiders. And again, we're still asking ourselves, I'm probably still asking myself this, where the fuck is Randy Orton? We got Jackson Ryker. He's staring at his screen and, he's watching replay, basically they just show replays of him whipping Elias with a strap and just says, wait till you see what he does next. So before we have the Symphony of Destruction match, we basically have Elias in the ring. He's about to perform a song, and this is the first time that he's doing this with a live crowd. And let me tell you, when the Walk with Elias chant happened, it was not as loud as I expected. I thought it would have gotten a huge fucking pop. All right, so basically, the tries to just, do a song. Ryker interrupts him. The match just takes place. And, the match is actually, I'm hoping this is the end of their angle. This has to be the end. It's a Symphony of Destruction match. If something like this happens, it has to be the end of the angle. So there's a lot of offense coming from Ryker here. He goes, grabs some guitars. He does some, oh, come on, boom, type shit with some guitars. And then he hits them with a fucking cello after that. There was a piano spot, and there was other spot. But you know what? If there's one thing that I could say about this match that was, that was good, is that the gimmick actually makes sense. It's a Symphony of Destruction match, and you're using weapons. Oh, and Elias got color off of this. I believe the ending spot was there was a superplex off the ropes outside the ring, going on to 2 tables. And the match ending right there, which was a pretty sick spot and a pretty good way to end it. I don't know what people's opinions are with Jackson Ryker after, all the controversial shit that he's put on Twitter. But, you got to give him credit for what he's doing here in his wrestling. I mean, I still think of him as Gunner from TNA. I don't like that name, Jackson Ryker. It's so create a character mode type shit. But you know what? Good match, and a good way to get the crowd riled up for what's to come following shows and everything else. I honestly say this needs to be the end, and they'll give Elias some time off, they'll give Jackson Ryker some time off or something to do. I just hope it's not the 24/7 division. We have Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce backstage. When did they start becoming friends? When did they start coexisting with each other? What happened to that angle of them not coexisting? And, Sonya Deville, abusing her authority, going behind Adam Pearce's back. What the fuck happened to that? It's done? They're just friends now? It's like, now that we are friends, like, why? Why are you guys friends? Why? I need an explanation. Why are they working together? Okay, so basically, they're backstage in their office, along with Mansoor. And Ali appears. And Deville says, hey, they've agreed to put them in a tag team. And Ali's not happy. He says he never asked for it. Mansoor says Ali keeps telling him how he should act. So why not show him as a team? And, Ali just second guessing himself, but he reluctantly just agrees. I wonder who they're facing next week. I mean, is it New Day? Is it anyone? Who are the tag champs again? Oh yeah, AJ Omos. I don't think it's them. And I don't even think it's the Viking Raiders. But who knows? We just have to wait and see. So after all that, Sheamus appears and asks the villain Pearce, why does he have to face Humberto Carrillo again tonight? Yeah, why does he have to face Humberto Carrillo again? This is like his fucking 100,000th time chasing after the U.S. belt. Either put him in the 24/7 division or send him back to NXT to compete for the Cruiserweight title. Because this is getting ridiculous. This is ridiculous. All right, he says he's already beaten Carrillo. Yes, even if it is with fuckboy finishes and screw-ups and all that stuff. But Pearce says he can't call that a proper defense. Deville says that they need to have a fair match. Sheamus says they wouldn't know a fair match if they hit him in the face, but it's fine. He'll give the crowd what they want. So we have our women's championships coronation with Charlotte Flair winning her 11th women's championship in WWE. I mean, look, my opinion on Charlotte winning the belt, it was fun, but then it kind of just starts. It starts getting, it's starting to just feel like the everyday norm. It's like, oh, we'll give this person the belt, and maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, Charlotte wins, lol, or Charlotte's #1 contender, lol. Then Charlotte wins, lol. Okay. She says the past year hasn't been kind, but out of that sprung opportunity, she is the opportunity. A snake like RIpley is an opportunist, but she is the opportunity, meaning Charlotte Flair. She says RIpley can steal as many moves as she wants, but she wrote the playbook of stealing shit because you're stealing your daddy's gimmick. The fans are chanting for Becky. And, Charlotte says, Becky's not here. She's at home breastfeeding. Like, she's not backstage, just waiting to come up. If it's like, no, damn it, you got a child. Go take care of that child now. We'll tell you when you're ready. Flair says, we wouldn't believe the outpour of support and congratulations and adulation from the crowd that she received on Money in the Bank. I mean, it's a bit of a mixed bag there. She did get cheered, but she also got booed. But she mostly got cheered, but she did get booed. Okay, she got cheered in some parts of the match, but she also got booed when she won. Charlotte explains that she's the only 11-time women's champion in the history of World Wrestling Entertainment. She beat Rhea last night, and she would do it again given the opportunity. Uh-oh, I smell some bullshit happening. Rhea's music hits, and the nightmare. Wait, that's Cody's thing. What's going on here? So she makes her way down to the ring. The fans chant for Rhea. So she's a babyface now. Cool. So I guess all that heelish shit that she was doing before is just. Where's the fucking thing again? This is my neuralizer. Rhea was never a heel. She was a face, okay? All right, so basically, Flair's, this is just stupid. So she wants her rematch with Charlotte, and Charlotte is like, no, and then here comes the authority, the new authority of Pearce and Sonya Deville. So they come on and congratulate Charlotte on becoming an 11-time women's champion. Deville demands Flair of her own words, and Pearce says, if Rhea is up for the challenge, then tonight we will have a rematch, the Raw Women's Championship. Again, we just did this. Like, we just fucking did this. We don't need to do this again. Like, why does this need to be done again? So the match is made official, and, to make things, this was just hilarious. So Charlotte just has the power to fling her heel off of her foot and hit Rhea's face with it, and then goes and just knees her before leaving. We have a rematch taking place here. I don't know why it's Natty and Tamina taking on Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Okay, here's what happened. Same old bullshit. Reginald interferes, Nia and Shayna lose. 1, 2, 3. What happens at the end is what's interesting. So Shayna's done. She's fed up. She's like, we were once dominant. And since you brought him along, we kept losing. And then WrestleMania 24 moment with Nia Jax and Reginald as she holds his dear head onto her big boobs and kisses him in the forehead. I'm sorry. I love you. Headbutt. They leave. 24/7 division just runs out. It just comes from out of nowhere. So that was 24/7 champion, by the way. Oh my God. This is how you know we've been gone for nearly almost 2 months. We missed a whole lot of shit. And for some reason, within those weeks that we haven't recorded, some Raws was actually really good. And then it just went back to being shit again. So 24/7 division are chasing Tozawa. And basically what happens is Tozawa gets in the ring. Reginald hits Tozawa with a spinning crossbody. He goes to the corner and he does his signature move. Sits on flip. Sits on Cesaro. 1, 2, 3. Reginald becomes your new 24/7 champion. I didn't even expect something like that to happen. That's this dude has been down on his luck. He went from being fired by Carmella, being fired by Sasha, being Nia Jax's, boo thing, buying him suits and all this other stuff, and costing them matches nonstop, constant. They keep losing, but for some reason they could win at WrestleMania. To have them lose the belts to Natty and Tamina, to why the fuck are we still, plain and simple, why the fuck are we getting this rematch? I didn't care for the match. It was a stupid waste of fucking time. It should have never existed to begin with. This is where Raw kind of starts going downhill because it was getting good. And then it's just, almost like this is where it starts to suck. I can't stand that. Like I don't need another women's tag team match of the same women facing each other. Like I just realized that I'm never gonna, talk about ever again because she's back in NXT. I hope you guys are happy because you guys over there, answer, you get to talk about it. But just wait till we have Tony time on SmackDown. We have it's a championship contenders match. So if Humberto wins this match, he will be facing Sheamus for the United States Championship. This was not for the title. I don't get where people were saying that this belt was for the U.S. Championship. I did not see a U.S. Championship graphic. I didn't even hear that the U.S. title was defended. All right, so basically it's the same thing, but it's just better. Humberto Carrillo, showing off some pretty good offense between these guys. They put on one hell of a showcase in here. It gets really good. There are moments where Humberto Carrillo was punching Sheamus and he had to sell his hand because remember Sheamus has the face mask on. So basically what happens is from the end, Carrillo climbs up to hit a super Frankensteiner. Then Sheamus rolls to the outside and Carrillo hits a suicide dive. That crashes Sheamus into the announce desk. Carrillo gets Sheamus's back inside the ropes for a top rope. Jesus. All right, he goes to the top rope for a missile dropkick and the 2 count. The 2 trade shots back and forth, and then Sheamus clocks him for a fucking bro kick. 1, 2, 3, Sheamus wins. Good match. I mean, again, like I want to see Humberto Carrillo do other things. Like I'm just getting sick and tired of this whole thing where his only passion is like they're only booking him to go out to the U.S. Championship, and they've been doing this for almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years that they've been having him go up against contenders like AJ Styles, Andrade, I think Samoa Joe at the time, Ricochet. Even now, Sheamus, how many times is this kid gonna go out to the U.S. Championship? Because there are other belts in the company that he can go after besides the 24/7 championship. So can we please do something new with Humberto? And can we give Sheamus another opponent? Maybe someone not named Ricochet. All right. So Bobby Lashley is about to have a open challenge. I believe it is for the WWE Championship. I don't know if it isn't or if it isn't. So Bobby Lashley has a microphone and he says he did everything he said he would do. MVP says the fans are very lucky to be there to bear witness the almighty WWE champion. He also says he understands why they're booing because they're Cowboy fans. And guess what? Cowboys, you suck. I'm talking about the football team. Kofi said a lot of disrespectful things to him and Lashley. He said that the good life made Lashley soft. And guess what? He was actually right. Saying that MVP apologizes for it. However, those words lit a fire in the champion, the likes of which has never been seen. Anyone who steps in the ring with Lashley from here on will face nothing but destruction. Any semblance of vulnerability Lashley had is gone. No more cockeyed hoes, no more champagne, no more bullshit. The open challenge is about to take place, and it is accepted by a returning hometown hero, Keith Lee, and he fucking loses. How is it? Tell me this. How is it that you have a guy like Keith Lee, a big boy, that Vince McMahon should say, this is $1 million right here. But no, he doesn't see it that way. How is it, of all things, this man makes his return since February, from like a fucking injury, and he loses in front of a live crowd. This is his first time. I think in like the years top that he wrestled in front of a live crowd, let alone the main roster, and he loses. Oh my God, man. Look, I'm happy that, Keith Lee is back on TV, but this right here, who booked this shit? Because this was the worst decision that they ever. And I'm gonna throw it out there. This man is not buried. Yes, when he made his debut on the main roster, he's been losing constant every time. He only got like what, 1 or 2 wins? And I think he was set to win the U.S. championship, but then the injury happened, and that's why Riddle is champion. So, yeah, I'm mad, but I'm not mad like how everyone else is throwing it out there. Like, again, the guy just made his return. They only did it because of what happened after. So let me just explain what happened after what happened in the match. So basically, Irish rips Lashley off and runs, and he gets hit with a spine buster. Lashley starts to ready himself. He hits a spear, then pins Lee 1, 2, 3, and the crowd is just dead. After the match, Lashley is posing on the ropes, and fucking Goldberg. I'm just gonna put you guys. He just yells, "I'm next," into Lashley's face. So now we cut back to the ring with Jinder Mahal and his goons, Veer and Shanky. They're in the ring. Mahal says that today is his birthday. And what makes it even better is that Drew McIntyre is not Mr. Money in the Bank, because during Money in the Bank, Shanky and Veer assaulted him and they kidnapped him. Yeah, they kidnapped him. They took him away. And I thought we would never see him again and all that stuff. So we see a replay of Drew destroying Jinder's motorcycle. Mind you, I just want to point this out. Let me remind you guys that this whole rivalry started because of a text message. Hey, Drew, I got this motorcycle. You want to ride with me? Nah, man, I'm too busy. Two, because he's a two-time WWE champion. He wrote number 2 in the text message. And because he wrote that, it made Jinder Mahal jealous. Because yes, Jinder Mahal is also a former WWE champion, unless, you know, you want to be neuralized for that one. You guys don't want that in your memory. Jinder says karma always comes back around. We see a replay of him beating Drew with a chair and then taking him out with a ladder. Mahal says that he could buy another motorcycle, but Drew will never get another shot at the WWE Championship while Lashley is champion. Shanky, out of nowhere, starts singing Happy Birthday to Jinder Mahal, and then that's when Drew McIntyre appears from under the ring, and he has a chair. If you're going to kidnap a guy, duct tape his ankles to the chair, duct tape his mouth, duct tape his hands behind the chair, duct tape the whole body onto the chair. Because if you don't, you're horrible kidnappers. And I mean horrible, 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 horrible kidnappers. Because you couldn't even keep Drew McIntyre hostage. You couldn't keep Drew McIntyre away from TV from this one night. You just had to have him appear. And of all things, for him to appear to like hit Shanky with a chair 20 times. Like literally 20 fucking chair shots to Shanky's back. Oh my God, the fucking overkill. And I'm telling myself, this is the Drew that we need more. Not Drew where you're backstage and you have to tell your fucking folklore stories about Loch Ness monsters and kilts and, you know, how you know, drunk people or anything folklore. This is where everything just goes to shit. And you, my friend, are about to suffer. We have the debut Karrion Kross, NXT champion, by the way. No Scarlet Bordeaux, no flashy entrance. It's just him on the stage doing this. And he walks down and he's lip syncing fall and pray, fall and pray. And he gets in the ring and he does nothing. All he does, that's it. No smoke and mirrors, no flashy lights, none of that shit. Oh, he doesn't even get his NXT entrance, like his graphics and all that stuff. He just gets generic main roster, you know, graphic entrance, which is so terrible. So fucking terrible. For the NXT champion. But then it gets better. It gets way better. Because he's facing Jeff Hardy. And my God, what a time to be alive. I had to shed a tear because no more words is finally back. Time's gonna go forward. That's the third time. Well, yeah, this is awesome. This is awesome. And then the fucking bell rang. Roll up. Jeff Hardy put his foot under the ropes. Match over. Under 2 minutes. Remember when Kevin Owens debuted in the main roster with the NXT Championship and all he had to do was powerbomb John Cena and step on the US title like it was a piece of garbage? Well, they just took Karrion Kross, the NXT champion, and they throw him in the main roster with nothing, and they just said, go out there and have a show in under 2 minutes. And you get beat by Jeff Hardy doing heel things. Hey, Austin, is there anything you got to say about this? There should be a wet chat. Look, man, when push comes to shove, you find ways to, you know, piss off the hardcore NXT fans, because this is where people just start going crazy. Oh, Karrion Kross is now buried. He's buried, the NXT champion, buried on the main roster by Jeff Hardy. yo, chill out. The man's not buried. It's just he lost to a vet. And sometimes NXT guys need to lose to a vet. I mean, I don't understand why it had to be on his debut. That was an embarrassing debut. I think this is the reason why Triple H is having beef with Vince. Because it's coming down to the point where now WWE is beefing with WWE. I don't like how you're treating my stars. Like, well, I'm making them a whole lot of money, pal. But you're burying them. Hey, you fucked my daughter, pal. But she loved me. Yeah, well, I'm going to love your guys in catering. Look, it push comes to shove. I cannot understand why of all things, they did this. Karrion Kross was undefeated. He was undefeated, and he loses in under 2 minutes to Jeff Hardy on Monday Night Raw. We go to Alexa's playground, and it's the return of Lily. Alexa says Lily promises to be on her best behavior. The fucking Animorph and her... I might as well just talk about this now. Why is Piper Niven being called Pokemon? Dewdrop. Like, no. This is not like. And then, like they're having her stay like a Pokemon, and then Alexa's going with this. No. And okay, the Animorph is wearing leopard print. Okay, the Animorph says she thought Dewdrop throwing Alexa around last week would have made her see sense. Bliss ignores the Animorph and welcomes Dewdrop. The Animorph rambles, so Bliss tells her not to say anything to her or about Lily. The Animorph says, like, what? She says, make Dewdrop drop her in the trash. Bliss says that would be very bad. Very, very, very bad. And Bliss suggests putting Dewdrop in timeout to see what the Animorph could do on her own. The Animorph says she's more than capable on her own. No, the fuck you're not. At this point, I'd rather see you gone. I'd rather see you fucking gone. What happens at the end is, hey, Dewdrop, let's get out of here. And she trips on something. So the doll tripped her? Or what did Dewdrop trip her? How did she fall? It's time for our main event. For the Raw Women's Championship in a rematch, Charlotte Flair defending her championship against Rhea Ripley. The main event goes in the way and Charlotte runs, gets lifted and slammed. Rhea runs Charlotte into the corner, shoulders her a few times. Charlotte goes to the apron, shoulders Rhea. He jumps over the ropes, an arm drag, they trade shots. Flair shoves Rhea, but she backfires with a drop kick. Flair gets slammed for another pinfall breakup. They exchange reversals, and Rhea hits the German suplex, then a running drop kick to Charlotte for the 2 count. Rhea is sent to the apron, and after Flair knocks her down, tweaking her knee, Flair capitalizes and runs out around the ring. Chop blocks Rhea Ripley. All right, so Flair is targeted in the knee. Flair uses the ropes to stretch and hurt the knee. Rhea manages to create some distance with a German suplex, but also hurts herself. Rhea runs at her, but eats a big boot. Charlotte goes up for a moonsault, but Rhea throws a boot to her face. Rhea punches her own leg to try and restore some feeling. She smiles, goes for a figure 4 on Flair. Really? Charlotte screams for a moment, but quickly reverses the pressure. Rhea Ripley grabs the bottom of the rope, but Charlotte continues to hold on until the referee's count of 4. Charlotte backs Rhea Ripley up, but she catches her with a riptide. Out of nowhere, it covers, but Flair gets the foot on the rope, rolls outside, grabs the title, and basically clocks Rhea Ripley the face with it, causing the DQ. It was a good match. I liked it. You know, good main event. It was going to be a DQ because of what was happening at the end of the show, which is what basically left everyone with smiles on their faces after watching a shitty third hour. So Charlotte gets in the ring with her title, poses. RIpley attacks her from behind and starts beating her around. Then Rhea hits the riptide and then she leaves. Nikki A.S.H. Nikki, almost a superhero with her Money in the Bank. Here she comes to save the day. She cashes in the briefcase. She climbs up the top rope, goes to hit a flying crossbody out to Charlotte. And Nikki A.S.H., Nikki, almost a superhero, is now your Raw Women's Champion, ending the show with a banger. First time ever since 70 weeks, Monday Night Raw has had a live crowd, and I believe the fans went home with a happy ending. And I believe this was a good call on the booking here. I mean, I wasn't expecting the rematch. I didn't want to see Charlotte and Ripley wrestle again, but I guess they did this for a reason. Oh, and the championship is now being hot potatoed again. So, I mean, that's probably the only negative I could say about it. But all in all, I'm really happy for Nikki A.S.H. For someone that created this superhero character on her own and got it over on her own and got where she needed to be by winning the Money in the Bank briefcase and the Women's Championship on her own means that she has some gold in this character, and people are having some faith in this character, and they believe that this is probably going to be the greatest thing to happen in the women's division until the return of Becky Lynch. But we most likely see Nikki A.S.H. taking on Charlotte for the Women's Championship, although there is a rumor that the match might turn into a triple threat with RIpley added to the mix. You know, overall, this show, this whole Raw show, it had really good moments until you hit the third hour with all the other bullshit nonsense that they were trying to pull here. I was not a big fan of how, you know, they kept throwing these rematches in. Like, again, I don't need to see Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler going after Tamina and Natty again. Like, we can move on from that already. You know, I'm still upset that they're giving the Animorph Eva Marie more airtime. I'm happy that Doudrop is doing something, but they really need to get her off of this bitch soon. Get rid of her. Fire her. Nobody needs Eva Marie in WWE. Hashtag get rid of Eva Marie. Get rid of her. She's worthless. Okay. Now, I'm just going to say this stuff real quick, and this is basically what pissed me off. The return of Keith Lee, losing. I'm not happy with how WWE pulled the trigger on that. Yeah, I get it's a hometown boy, and you know what? Not a lot of people get a lot of home field advantages, but goddamn, he just made his return after being away for months. And what have you been doing with him when you debuted him in the main roster? You kept having him lose. You changed his theme song. You put a shirt on him. Just so you could have the fucking return of Goldberg. And seriously, you really, after what you did to Karrion Kross, you need to, you know, come up with some sort of apology for what happened there. I don't think Jeff Hardy should have won the way he won. I think he should have just won that shit clean, or at least given Karrion Kross a fucking win. It made no sense for him to lose. And you guys should learn from that fucking mistake. That was a huge mistake on your part, and you should be ashamed of yourselves for fucking doing it. Fuck you. I'm going to give this show a solid good. It was good for what it was. But then when you got to the third hour and you started doing all that fuckboy shit, you kind of lost me there. You kind of made me want to turn it off after Karrion Kross losing and after seeing Eva Marie within the third hour. Follow us on all of our media platforms. For YouTube, www.youtube.com/RambleMania Show. Stomp a mud hole on that subscribe button. Cheer for us by clicking the thumbs up. Every week we put out videos for all of you to enjoy. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW. Follow us for all of our social medias. Facebook.com/RambleMania Show, Twitter @RambleMania, Instagram @RambleMania Show. For all of our audio platforms, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, Anchor, all the audio platforms. You can type RambleMania Show. Every week we put out all the audio for all of you to listen and enjoy on your days of work or school or heading home from a long day. As for me personally, you can find me on Instagram @iZombies, IZOMB, Man, it's good to do Raw again. I mean, I wish my twin was here to do it with me because it would have been more fun. That way I wouldn't be talking to myself. But I think I gave you guys a good enough show for Raw. And, guys, stay tuned for the new SmackDown. Oh, the last What SmackDown episode is up on YouTube now, so go check that out. So, for Hazel the iZombie, I would like to wish you all a morning goodies, A2 sweets, a good fight, a goodbye, and a good fucking night.